Welcome back to our vlog. This morning we are going to walk around this magnificent medieval town of Switzerland. So when you look up for the most beautiful city in Switzerland, guess what comes up? Well, Lucerne is a top lister. Hi!
Hello.
So today we are exploring the old city of Lucerne. We arrived here last morning, but yesterday was all about taking free Swiss rides to Rigi and Stutz. As a result, today we are exploring this beautiful city. From our hotel, we took a bus that dropped us close to the station, and from there on, we are following our map to reach the old city area. The side of the town looks newer with a lot of glass facades, well connected with buses, and has in fact a lot of activities like shopping, cafes, restaurants around here. We had quite a morning exploring this part of the city, and the tree-lined avenues, especially with the fall colors, looked just like a painting. And then we reached the Riverside. We were here on a weekend, which means some monuments were closed, but the plus point was the Riverside was very active. In fact, there was a market going on, and we will show you quite some of it. So that is the Chapel Bridge, and this is the old city area. Though last evening we walked around the old city area in the night, in the morning it completely transforms. It's a charming little old town with medieval buildings lining both sides of the river, making such a gorgeous view of the riverfront. And that is the iconic Chapel Bridge, one that has survived. Let's show you around. This is the beautiful old city area. And this is our first destination, the Church of Jesuit. As we entered, we were welcomed by this grand interior, a pleasantly white church with a lot of woodwork and a lot of intricate pink and golden hued frescoes and reliefs. The church dates back to the 1670s, and at that point of time it was the first Baroque church in the north of Switzerland. We were pleasantly surprised by the intricate moldings that went all across the columns to the roofs and back again. Right outside the church, we walked into this weekend market. It was an elaborate affair all along the river on either side, all through the old city. It was quite nice, busy and vibrant. We were lucky to be here on the weekend. And we are almost at the Chapel Bridge. The Chapel Bridge, you guys, is one of the most iconic and most visited monuments in Switzerland. It is a completely wooden pedestrian bridge. In fact, this bridge is the oldest wooden truss bridge in Europe. Connecting the two banks of the pristine river Reuss, this bridge was almost brutally destroyed in a fire in the 1900s. However, the unique triangular-shaped paintings from this area, about 1/3 of them were recovered or restored. One can easily trace the beautifully aged wood from the 1360s. As we landed on the other bank of the river, we walked into this beautiful flower and fruits market. And then it was time for our second destination, St. Peter's Chapel. The Chapel Bridge almost lands at the entrance of this chapel. The chapel interestingly features important artworks even on the outside. The church was built in the 1800s, and we got to know that it was built on a 12th century church site. Being one of the oldest churches in Lucerne, this was also a place where community parishioners would gather. So that's the old chapel bridge, and the two churches we visited were on that side, and now it's time to go to the second surviving wooden bridge. To show you better, that's the Church of Jesuit. We are on the vehicular bridge, and on the other side is the wooden bridge. Of the three original bridges, this was the farthest down the river. Built in the 1400s, this was again almost destroyed in floods of the 1560s and then was restored. The triangular paintings are originals from the 1600s. They are unique to the Lucerne bridges, and each bridge told a historic story. After our visit around the river Rose, it was time to venture into the old city. The narrow streets of the old city would open up into smaller plazas, which would either feature a fountain in the center or would have beautiful painted facades looking down at us. After spending some time exploring the old city, we ventured back to the riverfront. The riverfront is a more modern and formal edge to the waterside. And we are generally moving in the direction of this church, but we will keep exploring the inner streets around this area. For example, we were pleasantly surprised by this church and the waterfront building that featured a sky bridge. Most churches in this region were open for public and were free of cost to enter. A small little church with the floating candles on the top was a pleasant sight. A quick in and out of this church, and we have very little time to go and visit our last two destinations. This grand plaza just outside of the church, and we especially wanted to visit this one because it is set on high ground, which means we expected a panoramic view of the city. A Roman Catholic church built in the 1630s, it holds rich history from the European Renaissance times. The church is built in and around the site of an abbey as old as the 1290s, and when it was built, the organ in the church was the largest piped organ in the whole world. In fact, the music you hear is the original church music from our visit. After visiting the church, you can choose to walk around it. There are beautiful views, a colonnaded area talking about the rich history of the church's parishioners, and a cemetery. After exploring the church, we were running out of the time as we had a train to catch, but before leaving this wonderful, mesmerizing city, there was one last destination which we could not miss. So last on our list, but one of the most beautiful monuments we've seen, here is the Lion Monument. We are at the Lion Monument. This monument commemorates the Swiss lives lost during the war and the people who died during the war fighting like lions. And now it was time to leave the city of Lucerne. We took a bus back to our hotel to pick up our luggage before we got back to the train station. Leaving a city is always mixed emotions. But the excitement of going to the next brand new city keeps us going. We reached our last destination for Switzerland, and we have just half a day now to explore the city. It is completely a bonus city, so we are okay with half a day. The city of Zurich. Stay tuned to our next video. If you enjoy our travel videos, please like, share and subscribe to our channel Little Travels.